Hello, and welcome. Hey, how did 2025 go for you? Let's talk about some anime, and what a weird year was for anime. I don't really think there were as many heavy hitters as previous years, like in 2023 or 2022, which I'm okay with because that means there's plenty of hidden gems. I'm telling you now, at the end of this decade, when people are debating what the best anime were, if any show gets brought up from this year, the reactions will be something like, oh yeah, that did happen, it was pretty good. I'm fine with having unusual years for anime, which I think is most reflected in this list. Yeah, this list is gonna look really weird. Like, don't try to predict what's gonna be on here. You're not gonna get it right. Which is why you should join me as I continue my journey to discover the perfect anime. And I'm gonna be changing things up slightly here. From now on, any anime that either myself or the masses have praised in the past won't be on these lists. I feel a little awkward for ranking Konosuba so high last year, so the following are all really great but aren't going to be on here because I don't want these year-end lists to be the same each time and want to highlight anime that truly defined the year as a whole. I watched 102 different anime series that aired in 2025. I had to narrow it down a little bit at least. Now, I'll still put on sequels if they stand out or I want to highlight them. It's my list after all. But the more rules I add, the less fun it is. And the following are all my honorable mentions. Sonda, Honey Lemon Soda, Windbreaker Season 2, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, This Monster Wants to Eat Me, Aharon-san Season 2, I Have a Crush at Work, May I Ask for One Final Thing, Ruri Rocks, Zenshu, Lord of Mysteries. Please put them on Takamine-san. Okay, now onto the list proper. Keeping up with my yearly tradition of beginning the best anime list with truly weird anime that are not gonna be for everyone, there was no other anime I considered for this spot other than Nukitashi the Animation. Now, I need to keep this brief because 98% of Nukitashi I can't show on YouTube. It's that down bad. I said last year that gushing over magical girls is in the running for the horniest anime ever made, but I think Nukitashi is a worthy competitor, which is hilarious because the main cast are fighting against the oppressive pro-copulation regime of Saren Island. When this was airing, a lot of people were comparing it to Shimonetta, which in my opinion is a compliment. Shimonetta is one of my favorite ecchi anime ever, and is proof of what I firmly believe, that just because something is a lewd doesn't mean it can't be a fantastic story and execution. Nukitashi is a worthy spiritual successor in that regard, and it surprises me because visual novel adaptations are kinda hit or miss, but this year we had two solid ones. The other, we'll get to. Takapi's Original Sin will not appear on this list. There's a few reasons for that. For one, I've already made an entire video why I think it's the best made anime of the year, and I still believe that. No other anime of 2025 was able to do as much as Takapi was with as few episodes as it has. And the other reason is because this is a list largely based off of what I enjoyed the most. I did enjoy watching this anime, but it's not meant for your enjoyment. This is an anime that really should be watched by everyone at least once. But I don't know how many people are going to watch it a second time. But the reason I bring it up is because at the same time, another anime aired for only 6 episodes. And that one I am putting on the list. See You Tomorrow at the Food Court is honestly a hard sell. If you haven't seen it, then I don't know how best I can convince you that two girls hanging out at their local food court and talking about literally nothing is such a fun watch. But that's what's so beautiful about it. Some of the best times I've ever had with my friends are just hanging out and talking about nothing of any amount of importance. And I wouldn't trade those times for anything. Cherish all the times you have with the people you love spending time with. That's what we can take from this unexpected but charming anime. If I'm gonna gotta be honest, 2025 wasn't my favorite year for romance anime. I mean, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity was one of the highest rated anime of the year, yet I didn't even put it on this list. And instead, I put the silly goofy harem. Yeah, sorry about that. But hear me out. Dealing with Mikado no Sisters is a Breeze is a fantastic rom-com. Since, as I always say, in order to have a great harem, the main character needs to be the best part. And Yu is the most unusual harem protag I've ever seen, since the harem is also pretty unusual. He's ended up living with a trio of tomboy sisters who exude more masculinity individually than he will in 100 years. He's the first femboy immune to twink death. But that's where the fun of the show lies. The reversal of gender roles and expectations is played up to such a high degree that when the girls are put in more traditionally feminine roles and vice versa for you, it just feels out of place. Yeah, this guy isn't gonna princess carry anyone anytime soon, but with how overworked Kazuki, Nico, and Miwa are from the expectations levied upon them by their own father, they need someone who will not just be a male wife, but support them in every way he can, despite his physical limitations. This is one of the most wholesome anime from 2025. It never fails to make me smile. Clevitis is awesome. That's really all I need to say. Like, the first episode is over 40 minutes of pure dark fantasy. And this is a well put together world and story. So much of the world is actually unknown due to the iron grasp that the lords of dark beasts like Clevitis have over the races fighting against them, which is a futile endeavor since the various peoples of this world are effectively insects to such a legendary being. But that just makes him becoming a dad all the more hilarious. He does a pretty good job with it too. And of course, I need to give props to the incredible MC herself, Alicia. It feels like the best way to set up your dark fantasy is to have the MC suffer as much as possible. In episode 1, she straight up dies, gets resurrected, and becomes a gopher of the strongest being she's ever known. And despite being immortal, that doesn't mean she's immune to pain. Yeah, at times Clevitis went so far with its brutality, I felt sick watching. Man, more anime need to just hammer in how visceral they want their world to be. Like, this place would suck to live in. You either get killed by dark beasts, invading armies, or this is the Middle Ages, so like, a paper cut will probably do you in too. That being said, as much as I enjoy this anime, I think I appreciate what it's doing more too. It got an immediate season 2 announcement, and now we've got sentenced to be a hero. I sincerely hope this is a signal that we're getting more excellent dark fantasy series to come in the future. And yeah, putting them together since they're actually kind of similar. They're both girls band anime where I'm not convinced being in these bands is a good idea. You see, the phrase of the day for both of them is fake it till you make it. In Rock is a Lady's Modesty, Lilisa Suzunomiya is a total poser. She's attending the most prestigious all-girl school in Japan, despite not knowing anything about famous composers, how to fit in, or really anything else that proper ladies would need to know. But she does know how to kick ass. And she doesn't give a damn who stands in her way. Rival bands, her own bandmates, or people just looking to have a good time. They're all maggots. Dirt, not even worth stepping on. Their corpses will pave her road to victory. And in Ave Mujica, these girls are all broken. They're broken to the point where for the sake of their own well-being, they shouldn't be within 300 feet of one another. But broken people can make damn good music. Rock is a Lady's Modesty is loud, over the top, and flips you off every 5 minutes. Ave Mujica is pure melodrama to the point where it made its predecessor, It's My Go, look tame by comparison. But as abrasive and hard to watch as they are, they're still girls band anime, which is the best genre of anime. And these are worthy additions. You know, 2025 was a weird year when we got an actual good horror anime. What the Summer Hikaru diet excels in is this ever-present feeling of uneasiness. From the beginning, we're introduced to the eldritch entity currently known as Hikaru. But that's the name and body alone. The actual Hikaru is no more, and the series follows Yoshiki coming to terms with the fact that his best friend and love interest doesn't exist anymore, and instead has been replaced with something far more sinister. At any given moment, the new Hikaru can decide Yoshiki is no longer worth keeping around and send him to be with the real Hikaru. But that's where the horror truly shines. The new Hikaru loves Yoshiki. He's trying to understand him better, and in his own way discovering what being a human is like. But he'll never be Hikaru. Not to Yoshiki. As many good times as they have now or later, he'll always be the thing that replaced Hikaru. I do want to acknowledge this monster wants to eat me, since I almost went with it instead. I do like the Summer Hikaru died a lot, but I also think that the first part was way better than the second. Whereas this monster wants to eat me was more consistent with this quality overall. But regardless, I'm glad to acknowledge that we have two really solid entries into the gay horror genre, and it seems to be continuing with Roll Over and Die, which is currently airing. And if the quality stays this good, this consistent, then I'm hoping this spells great things for horror anime moving forward. City the Animation gets its spot for one reason above all others. It is the best animated show of the year. No question. This is why Kyoto Animation, seriously, is the top dog in the anime industry. Heck, watching this, I felt like blinking was doing the anime a disservice. I didn't want to miss a single moment of all the zaniness and creativity. Now, I would have loved to put this higher simply out of sheer respect, but what City is a collection of very short stories centered around, well, this city. And I mean short stories. Like, short enough where Steamed Hams is a Scorsese-level epic in comparison. But while not every snippet of everyday life in City is a home run, what I think this anime best represents is that the real chaos comes from enjoying and experiencing everyday life in a bustling environment. There's never a dull moment in City, even if nearly all of the stories are about some of the most mundane adventures, if you even want to call them adventures. I'm just in awe how you can watch this series a dozen times and still notice something new. It's endlessly creative, wonderfully animated, and never rests for a moment, because life in a city doesn't either. Whenever I watch mystery anime, I try to put myself into the protagonist's shoes, which is rather difficult when you have two protagonists. And what compelling protagonists they are. Ironic for a show named Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary. And man, do these two suck at being ordinary. I liked season 1 a lot back in 2024, I considered it for that year's list. But many of the mysteries in season 1 really didn't have too much at stake. However, it kept building up not just the relationship between Kabato and Osanai, but how they're both borderline sociopaths. So much of season 2, they're distancing themselves from one another to try and live a normal life at school, even dating other people, and yet it never clicks for either of them. They're not fit to be in normal high school relationships with ordinary students, because they're not ordinary themselves. They're the smartest and most unpredictable teenagers at their school and in their community. Whenever something happens to one, I'm immediately wondering what the other's planning to do next, or is already set in motion. Season 2 of Shoshimin only features 2 mysteries, which works in its favor, and why I made the list proper this year. The stakes are higher, people are at risk, and yet, no matter the circumstances, you just know both of them have it handled. The rest of the world isn't fit to accept who they are, which just makes a relationship that much stronger. When the rest of the world can't accept their brand of ordinary, they can only be ordinary to each other. Gnosia might be the biggest surprise for me this year. It's not the only visual novel adaptation we got, heck, another's on this list, but it is the one that I'd say elevates the source material the best. Now, I am saying that without having played the visual novel before, but I can only imagine how difficult of a task this was to become an anime. There's no way the source material follows a linear, coherent story. Each loop Yuri goes through only brings more questions to where I wonder if he'll ever solve all of them. And he does this through playing a game of Among Us, where you could be on the same side of the parasitic force you're trying to fight against. Meanwhile, there's up to 15 other people on the ship, and as we continue to learn their backstories and quirks, I'm left wondering if there's a way to save everyone. Even if some of you want to kill me, you're all really good people. Especially SQ. This is also an anime that's carrying into the winter, so I could have another orb situation, where it ends up being a generational masterpiece, and I feel silly only putting it where it did the year prior when it ends. I don't know if that's the case, but regardless, this is definitely an anime worth checking out and paying attention to, since it's way more than just what you'd expect, just like all the passengers on this ship. Witch Watch is the funniest anime of the year. And I know humor is subjective, but so is this list. And there are a few anime in 2025 I enjoyed more than Witch Watch. We followed 6 supernatural goofballs, and sure, much of this is sketch comedy, but you know what? It's hilarious. This is Jimmy Neutron levels of ridiculousness created because of the absurdity of the cast. A witch, Oni, Tengu, werewolf, Nekomimi, and vampire all living under one roof and just hanging out sounds like the setup of a joke. And they run with it. Is there a whole lot of plot progression here? Not especially, but there doesn't need to be. Studio Byberry is knocking it out of the park with their lighthearted comedic series of Witch Watch and 100 Girlfriends, and since both are getting continuations, I think it's a formula that works great for them. I thoroughly enjoy not just watching the series, but patiently awaiting what would happen each week. Anytime I think it's gone too weird, it just gets even weirder. And while this was airing, I kept thinking of all the sorts of shenanigans a gang could get up to at school or elsewhere. It's really a series that ends up writing itself. Whenever one of the characters does something preposterous, it feels entirely in character for them. I could watch 10 seasons of them just hanging out, going to school, and protecting Nico from life-threatening magical forces. You know, typical high school stuff. Uma Musume's Cinderella Grey is an anime I did not watch. Sorry guys, I know many of you were hoping it'd be on the list, but truth be told, I remember when Uma Musume first came out back in 2018. I had like one friend who was interested in it, and it just kind of went under the radar for most people that year. I just didn't get the chance to get into it then or now. However, I have no doubt that I love this series. I bring it up because while it's getting all sorts of accolades, and deservedly so, there is another sports anime that came out in 2025 that deserves its flowers too. Medalist is the most feel-good anime of the year. Both Inori and Tsukasa are extremely likable people and feel realistic. Inori is just an 11-year-old with a dream. Her aspirations may seem lofty and even unrealistic to most people, including her own family. I mean, she's getting into ice skating rather late for her to seriously compete with the top talent at her age. She's a kid. Someone who just hasn't experienced much of the world yet, but that just means that she dreams big. Let kids be kids and follow their path. Unfortunately, she has Tsukasa, who doesn't want her to experience the life he's lived. Having not just a coach, but a mentor who can empathize and encourage you when all may seem lost is a game changer. Every time Inori succeeds, she earns it. Earned from the hard work and dedication she puts into the sport, and earned from the guidance of the best coach an 11-year-old could ask for. I swear, after every episode of watching this show, I was standing and applauding with tears down my eyes. And not just is this a massive victory for Inori and Tsukasa, but for Studio Engi too. Like, I really didn't have many expectations for this show, but the brilliant execution of it all puts the biggest smile on my face. Everything about this anime just makes you feel so happy watching. And even if the world of competition in sports can be grueling, whether you're just an 11-year-old or a horse girl, I've watched enough anime and sports to learn you should never count out the indomitable human spirit. New panty and stocking with garter belt is vulgar, aggressive, in your face, and an affront to all decency. I love it. This is as much of a triumphant return as you could ask for. I mean, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that it's been 15 years since Panty and Stocking first aired. I actually remember back when I was in the middle of high school seeing clips of it online. But at the time, I had no idea that this was a masterpiece amongst masterpieces. I mean, a lot has happened since the first season came out. Gainax isn't even around anymore. So thank goodness Studio Trigger bought the rights and came back stronger than ever with this. And with the second season, we get more new exciting characters that fit Dot and City almost too well. Like, I went back and watched some of the older episodes and I felt like I was missing someone. That's not a knock against the original Panty and Stocking, since I'm glad I live in a world where an anime like this continues to push the boundaries of what is even considered entertaining. It only presses on the gas further. I hope Studio Trigger makes 18 more seasons of this. Sky's really the limit here, as long as they don't run out of movies to parody. Just please, don't take 15 years next time. I don't want to have to wait till my mid-40s for season 3. 2025 was the year of ambitious animation projects, and that goes for outside of Japan too. Since this was a year that Chinese animation really started to turn heads. Lord of Mysteries was really cool, but I have to be honest, it's a lot watching this series. I have to plan my day around making sure I watched it and soaked everything in. There were a number of other cool shows that popped up from China, and the success of Neja too, but come on, was there any other choice I would go with than To Be Hero X?
Jump into the night, cause I can spell the trouble. Don't you miss the fight, just get there at double.
To Be Hero X is a work of art. Episodes transition between multiple art styles, and sometimes even in the same fights. And in 24 episodes, we follow the stories of 11 heroes. I mean, who would imagine introducing that many main characters in only 24 episodes? Oh yeah. To Be Hero X is a journey. Each hero's story is one of heartbreak, tragedy, despair, but also hope. They're heroes for a reason. The rest of the world looks upon them with awe, which ends up backfiring more often than not too. At any moment, your cred, your support could tank, and you could be stripped of everything that made you a hero. But it's from this nothingness, from this bleak outlook on life, that heroes who shine brighter than the sun can appear and inspire the masses. I've got a lot of hope for this project and where it goes from here, but so far they've earned enough trust value to make me a fan. I love anime originals. Apocalypse Hotel is the most creative anime of 2025, which is surprising given that the entire show takes place in one hotel. Humanity has been absent from Earth for a century, but the Gingaro Hotel keeps trucking on, dedicated to its tenets of excellent service, until one day an alien guest appears and over time more and more come to Earth, just to experience the hospitality and warmth that can be expected from the greatest hotel in the galaxy. This is an anime where anything can happen. World-ending fights in one episode, trying to hide a body in another, building a spaceship to advertise a hotel? Why not? And still, this anime knows when to take it slow and breathe, to experience life. The guests who check in simply want to enjoy their Earth vacation and see what it has to offer, and the Gingaro Hotel is the best way to do so, because they have Yachio. Yachio is my favorite new waifu of 2025, by the way. I don't care if she's a robot, she's beautiful. I'd find a way to make it work. But this is an anime that truly gives you every feeling imaginable. I loved watching Yachio and Ponko have the hotel not just become a place to stay, but build it up to be a place worth remembering for the rest of your life. Even if Yachio will outlive the guests and perhaps even the entire human race, who she still awaits for every day, she's still carrying on the wishes of those who created the hotel. Apocalypse Hotel is beautifully animated, it's hilarious, it's touching, and it's a work of art. It truly encapsulates everything that makes anime so wonderful. In anime originals this exciting. And hey, if I was a spacefaring alien, Earth seems like a cool place to have a vacation. 2 years ago, I made a huge mistake. Allow me to fix it now. The Apothecary Diaries is the best anime of 2025. In fact, it's so good that it honestly makes the rest of the anime on this list look like a warm-up. Make no mistake, The Apothecary Diaries is a generational masterpiece, and with Season 2, its lasting impact has only been felt more and more. This aired for 6 months, and after it ended, all I wanted was the next season. If we're going to get a lot of The Apothecary Diaries moving forward, then just always consider it a contender for Best Anime of the Year each time. So much of why I love this anime is because of Mao Mao herself. Mao Mao is such an incredible MC that she honestly might make the rest of the show worse because of her. Let me explain. I've tried imagining what The Apothecary Diaries would have been like if anyone else was the main character, and I got nowhere with it. This is Mao Mao's world. Everyone else is just lucky enough to share it with her. And Season 2 brings a lot more tension than the first season. The political intrigue from both outside nations and the Imperial Palace makes me glad I'm not working here or involved with the Imperial Chinese family. Hey, what's our job to do today? Survive! But if there's anyone who could stand at the top, come up with the right solutions, and work her way out of the stickiest of situations, it's Mao Mao. The Apothecary Diaries is easily the best anime I watched in 2025. But if you see my previous Best Anime of the Year videos, then you know this isn't the end of the list. Because like usual, there's another anime that topped my list. And before I continue, I want to stress something. The anime that I chose for this list are based off of my own choices. I think I'll keep up what I've been doing and choose an objective best anime to top the list, but I'm also going to choose the anime I personally enjoyed the most, regardless of how much critical acclaim, to top the list as well. I've done that for both of my previous best anime lists, and I'm planning to continue doing that for the foreseeable future. The reason I'm bringing this all up is because my personal favorite anime of the year was one that didn't even get good reviews. I'm not expecting anyone to agree with my number one pick or any other placement on this list, because these truly are the anime that I enjoyed the most all year. And if I'm going to be truthful to myself, then there is only one anime that was going to top this list, and that anime is Turkey Time to Strike is my favorite anime of the year. Yeah, I bet you didn't see this coming, and neither did I. I was casually expecting this to be a cute girls do bowling things anime, which I would have enjoyed. So imagine my surprise when the first episode is pure melodrama, followed by time traveling to feudal Japan, all because of bowling in a thunderstorm. This is where most people may have heard of it and perhaps even turned their head, but that surprise can only hold for so long. What this is a story of a group of lonely girls learning to trust other people, rely on each other, accept who they are, and what they need to do to survive, and fight for a better future, which applies to both the Ikokukan High School Bowling Club and the Tokura family. And all of them have their own issues that can only be solved with bowling. It's the weirdest anime of the year, but this is why I love anime originals so much. For 12 weeks, we had no idea where the story would go with this crazy journey, and no other anime of 2025 made me laugh, cry, and feel better for a new tomorrow quite like this one. Each one of these girls faces their own hardships and trials, whether it's from their own past, outside threats, or the very idea of fate itself. It's melodramatic, it's over the top, it's technically still a sports anime, where feudal warlords can only be defeated through being challenged to a bowling match. And it's a beautiful work of art. Turkey Time to Strike is already one of my favorite anime ever, even if this is such a hard anime to recommend. But that's why I like it so much. I don't want every anime to appeal to a wide audience. I want anime to be unafraid to take these risks, to market themselves as one genre, only to blindside you with whoops, all isekai, and to run with a wild premise. I want anime to be willing to get weird, to present a truly unique story that you can only get from being unpredictable. If you're going to have a weird premise, then you might as well go all out with it, and deliver what I at least would consider a masterpiece. From the beginning to the end, this series captivated me, and by the time it ended, with the beautiful and satisfying ending it had, I was left with a wonderful story that I'm going to take with me. And remember everyone, there's always a second throw. As it brings us one step closer to finding the perfect anime. And there's my favorite anime of 2025. I know there's some I didn't get to, like There's No Freaking Way You'll Be Your Lover Unless, Tojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, and the aforementioned Uma Musume, but I'm only able to watch so many anime of the year, and I had a lot I considered for this list. And I also don't consider movies for the best anime of the year videos. I watched 4 this past year, and I like them all, with 100 Meters probably being my favorite. But which anime of 2025 were your favorites? I'd love to know. By the way, I recently got my first copyright strike, so I've created a Twitter account in case anything were to happen to my channel. I don't really like using social media, so I'll probably just use it for video updates, but please consider following because if anything were to happen to this channel, that's how you'd be able to find out. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to sub witches for more watches. Also, I'm still going to make a video on the best anime episodes of 2025, but that might not be the next one. This current season is just too good. I don't want to wait too long to talk about it, and the best anime episodes video is gonna take a while to make, but I'll work on it in the near future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.